peace, let me put on the code so that for the sake of peace, yes, those that are joining in were. So the question is, it's a quadratic equation, of course, of format. So if you're asked to say, solve the equation 2 over 3 plus x to the power 1 over 3 minus 6 equals 0. So the first thing that you do is you see the similarities of those guys, both raised to the power something over 3. So what you do is you bring out the square so that is x to the power 1 over 3 and closing bracket raised to the power 2 plus x to the power 1 over 3 minus 6 equals 0. So what you can see, clearly you can see that you have x to the power 1 over 3, x to the power 1 over 3. So what you do when you reach that stage, you just say let any letter of your choice u be equal to x to the power 1 over 3 because it's common. Then you replace where there is x to the power 1 over 3 with u. So you put u there, then that will be u squared plus you replace u there, that will be u minus 6 equals 0. And this is a quadratic equation. And we said for this quadratic equation, the sum is 1. The product is 6. The two factors that when you multiply them, you get negative 6. The product is negative 6. That is positive 3 and negative 2. So now I told you, remember during the day to say, I won't waste much of the time, you will replace. But since me, I'm the teacher, I'm teaching, the coefficient of this guy is 1. It means the factors are the solution. So it means u is equals to negative 3. You just change the sign. Then the other one, u is equals to positive 2. But we are not interested in the value of u. It means this solution is still incomplete. What we want is the value of x. So we'll get back to this stage where we had let x be equal to u. So from there, you get your u is equals to x to the power 1 over 3. And you substitute where there is x. So you begin with when u is negative 3. So you replace your u with negative 3. So you have negative 3 is equals to x to the power 1 over 3. So to get rid of the power, you introduce power 3 on both sides so that the power, this and that can cancel. Therefore, your value of x is equals to negative 3 squared, that will be negative 27. So negative 27. Okay. Okay, so that is negative 27. Then you substitute, of course, when u is, so you said u is equals to x to the power 1 over 3 here. You replace your u being the value of u as 2. So 2 is equals to x to the power 1 over 3. Then you cube both ends, even this end you cube. Therefore, x is equals to 2 to the power 3, that's 8. That's why the values of x are equal to 8. So that is what has happened at this stage. So you can clearly see that these are the steps that we have here on the screen. I was just trying to explain what has already been solved. So this is what we have there. Okay. Don't worry, we'll find you. If you are lost, we will search for you. We'll find you and we'll help you. We'll rescue you. Okay. So that is how you do that. So another example is that kind. So you can see one can bring raised to the power 4. So what's important is take it in form of a quadratic, then solve for value of x and y. So even this one, you look at it during your free time. Okay, so then we will solve one type of this kind, just one type. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so if there are no questions, we will solve here. If you've seen the review exercise, to review if you've understood this, you solve these questions, but I'll help you just one. I'll help you with the first one. The first one is square root of, the rest you will solve. Square root of 3x, square root of 3x, square root of 3x minus 2 equals 4. So if you want to solve this, to remove the square root, you square both sides. So you square both sides. So that and that cancels, then you remain with 3x minus 2 equals 4 squared, that is 16. Then you are going to have 3x is equals to 16. Take the minus to the other side, it will be plus 2. Then that will be 3x is equals to 18. Then you divide by 3, you divide by 3, then your x is equals to 6. That's how you solve that. So practice those questions. I may pick one question from there. Okay, so solve G. When you are on, solve G and see how it will come out. So solve G. When you are alone, solve G. Solve G. You remember me. Solve G. Okay, let's progress. My interest is, okay, so this, yeah, that's my interest. Inequalities. Inequalities. I think that's the agenda for this evening. Inequalities. So, for those of you who don't know inequalities, here when we say A is less than, so less than is the symbol that is looks like this. So this is less than. Greater than is that symbol. Less than or equal to, that's the symbol. Greater than or equal to, that's the symbol. So you should know. When you get your left hand side, do that, make that what shape you make is a less than. So your left hand side makes less than. Your right hand side makes greater than. So in case you forget which one is less than, which one is greater than, where you are seated, just raise your left hand side, make that shape, that will be your less than. Okay, wonderful. Then if we say A is less than B, it means that A is smaller than B. A is less than B. If we say A is less or equal to B, it means that A can either be smaller or equal to B. Even greater than is the same. Then let's continue. Our task is simple. Okay, so the examples of statements that are true. 8 plus 7 is greater than 10. It's true. But we are not interested in that. We are interested in solving. So example 1. So this one everyone can solve. If we ask you to solve this one, you just solve it normally the way it is. So the way it is as 3, open bracket 2x minus 1 less than 8x minus 7. What you do is expand, you get 6x minus 3 less than 8x minus 7. Then bring the minus 8 on one end, so that this is 6x minus 8x equals minus 7 plus 3. then 6 minus that will give you minus 2x. It's less than, sorry, less than minus 4. Now remember, when you divide with a negative number, the sign changes, so it will be greater than. Negative number, if it was positive number, nothing will change, but when you multiply with a negative number or divide with a negative number, the sign changes from less than to greater than, and that will be 2. So you are done. If I told you to say present your answer on a number line, the number line will look like this. You put your 0 here, you put your 2 there, then label there, then say this is x is greater than, so the shaded region is your x is greater than 2. So this is how it will look like on a number line, going to the positive because we are saying greater than 2. Okay, I'm sure everybody is following. If you are not following, you can sleep. There is no harm in sleeping. Okay, let's continue. Yes, Mvula, you can unmute yourself, Mvula, and ask the question.
Sir, I wanted to ask this same inequality position. You said the sign will change when you divide by negative number. So let's say maybe we have 2x is equal to negative 1, and then you divide by 2. Will the sign change when the answer becomes negative 1 over 2?
Young man, if you are dividing by a positive number, it won't change. You only change if you divide with a negative number. That's the only time the sign changes.
Okay, sir.
So the compound statement, we use words and or in mathematics to form compound statement. 8 plus 4 is equals to that, and negative 4 is that. True. Now this is where our mathematics start from. This is where our mathematics start from. This is good. Solve that. Even go to the PowerPoint. This is good. This is worthy staying up late. It is worthy. Okay. So solve the inequality. X squared plus x minus 6, is it greater or it's less than? Less than. Less than 0. Okay. Okay, so now when you have this, you need to factorize this guy. So like I said, the product is negative 6. The sum is 1. The factors are positive 3 and negative 2. So we'll replace the sum here with the factors 3 and negative 2. So this will turn out to be x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 6 less than 0. Then these two, we factor out x. So it will be x open bracket x plus 3. minus 2, open bracket, x plus 3 less than 0. So these two have to be the same always. So get x minus 2 in closing bracket, x plus 3 less than 0. So we don't do the way we do with the equations to say this is equals to that. So we can't say this alone is less than that. At this stage, we find what is known as critical points. Critical points. So it's the critical points we will get x minus 2, equate it to 0, and find that x is equals to 2. Then we also do x plus 3 equals 0. And after solving, we find x is equals to negative 3. So it means we have two critical points. Our secretaries, you have 2 minutes to screenshot. Secretaries, you can screenshot. We don't have the whole night to be writing. As you can see, some of your friends are even in the blankets sleeping. Yes, Tanaswa. Yes, Tanaswa.
Say, I can't fully see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
I only see till x minus 2, x plus 3 less than 0. I don't see the down part.
Which down part, young lady?
Go down.
I go
Go.
down.
See, I'm using a phone, really. So,
You're using a phone.
go down again. Again.
That's the last part. What's the last thing that you can see?
I can only see x minus 2, bracket, then bracket, x plus 3, bracket, less than 0. That's the last thing I see.
So you can't see the critical points.
I can't see.
Okay, so the critical points are x
Eh,
minus 2 equals 0 and x minus plus 3 equals 0. These are the critical points. And we said x is equals to, take the negative to the other side, positive 2, x is equals to negative 3, like that. So those are the critical points. Young lady, can you see the critical points now? Then to make your life easier, as usual, as per tradition, as per our agreement, we said you come up with a number line. So the number line, you are going to have 2 points. So the smaller one, negative 3. The bigger one, 2. Then since there is no less than, remember our question where we reached, where the young lady was able to see, it was at this stage x minus 2, x plus 3 less than 0. So there is no equal to on this sign here. There is no equal to. So it will be open intervals. So we are going to have 3 regions. The first region this side, the second region this side, and the middle part. So this side, it's always less than. I even mentioned it's less than. So we'll say x is less than the number that's here, less than negative 3. Then this side, it's always greater than the number that's here. X is greater than 2. Then the middle part, you put x in between two less than signs. Then the right hand side of the inequality, you put 2. The left hand side, you put negative 3. Like that. So either one of these or two of them will be solution. But we need to find out, it needs to be satisfied by this guy. So we have to do the testing. We have to do the testing. we have to do the what? The testing. Okay, so now to test this, we need to get the value that is less than -3. So we can pick -5 if we don't want to stress -4. So we'll get this guy, -5, we are testing on this region. So we'll test by getting -5 and then test it on that inequality. We want to see if it will be satisfied. So we are testing. Yes, we are testing. So what we have is x minus 2 and x plus 3 less than 0. Then we are testing when x is -5. So we'll substitute -5 minus 2, -5 plus 3 less than 0. Then that will be -7 in brackets, and that will be -2 less than 0. -7 times -2, that gives us +14. 14 is not less than, this is a false statement. 14 is not less than 0. Saying 14 is less than 0. It means any number that we pick from that region will give us a false statement. So it means this guy is not going to be our answer. We remove x that. Automatically, if that guy refuses, then this guy will accept, and this one will refuse. So therefore, the solution to the inequality is -3 less than x less than 2. And that's our solution to the inequality. In set interval notation, we'll say x is a member of from 3 not included to +2 not included. And that's how you solve inequalities. Any questions? Okay. People are happy. A happy class without questions. Oh, wonderful. Yes, you can use any negative number as long as it is less than the number that you have there. Yes, Mulubwa Emmanuel, what's the question? Oh, Mulubwa has withdrawn the hand. He was raising the hand, but he has withdrawn the hand. Okay, let's progress and go to the next thing. People want to rest. People want to rest. There's no way I can be staying up. When I used to study, I stayed up. Now it's time for me to rest. It's time for you to stay up. Let me give you more work so that you don't sleep. Okay. Okay, so let's look at in form of, so in a case where you have a fraction like this. So that was straightforward. That's how you do it. Okay. My interest now is on this. To solve that, x minus 2, x plus, you do the same thing. You find the critical value. It's the same thing. You just do the same thing. I think we are done because I've already told you that you will just find the critical values. Critical values, which is x minus 2 equals 0, and x is equals to +2, and x plus 3 equals 0, and that will be x is equals to -3. Then you equally do the same. And by the way, there is another method of doing that if you have the critical values like that. The other way of doing it is making a table. In case the graph is not sitting well with you, and your ancestors, you can use your, if it's not sitting well with you, you can use this. So if you have the critical values, so even for that fraction, like you have the critical values as x is equals to 2 and x is equals to -3. What we are solving, remember, is x minus 2 over x plus 3 greater than 0. So let's solve for greater than. So what you do is when you find those critical values, you can make a table that looks like this. Fine. So this is method 2. If you want, you can use the number line. If you want, you use this table that I'm writing right now. So this is how the table looks like that. Good. So the table looks like that. So now on the table, you turn out to get the two equations, x minus 2. You put your x minus 2 here. So you put your x minus 2 here, x minus 2. Then you take your other one, x plus 3. Then you put the function itself, f of x, because they are dividing. Then you are going to one critical value. The first critical value, the smallest, is -3. And I said the smallest you do less than. So you say x is less than -3. Then the far end here, you say x is greater than 2. You get that. Then the middle part, you say x is between 2 and x is between 2 and -3. So you have those three regions. Then what you'll be doing is you get a value that is less than. So here you get a value that is less than -3. Let's say -5. Then when you substitute there, you're going to have -5 minus 2. We are only interested in the sign of the answer that you get. The answer will be a negative value. So you are going to get a negative value. We are only interested, so you put negative there. Then here, you come here, you pick any number that is between -3 and 2. Let's say you pick 0. You're going to solve 0 minus 2. The answer that you get there will definitely be a negative. The answer that you get between there, it will be definitely a negative. So you indicate negative. Then you pick a number that is greater than 2. You substitute. Let's say you pick 10. 10 is greater than 2. You are going to have 10 minus 2. It will be 8. We are only interested in the sign of the answer. It will be positive. That. Then you go to the second one. You pick the same -5 that you picked plus 3. So it will be also negative. You pick 0 plus 3. It will be positive. You pick, let's say 10 plus 3. It will be positive. Then now when you have these, they are dividing. So what is negative divide negative? Negative divide negative, it gives you positive. Negative divide positive, it will give you negative. Then positive divide positive, it will be positive. So you look at the sign that you have. So the sign you have is greater than. Numbers that are greater than 0 are positive. So it means your answer is the ones that have given you positive. So it means the solution to this inequality is x is less than -3 and x is greater than 3 or greater than 2. So it means x is less than -3 or x is greater than 2. On a number line, as usual, as per tradition, x is less than -3. On a number line, you say something like this. If this is -3, of course, open this side. This is your x is less than -3. Then you leave some space there. You go to 2 up to that. Then x is greater than 2. So it will be x is greater than 2. This is on a number line, representing this your solution on a number line. So the ones that will give you positive. So here, if the sign here was a less than, would have gone for the ones that have given us negative. But now since the sign is greater than, we go for the one that has given us positives as the final function f of x. So that's how you get that. Any questions? Okay. If there are no questions, you have learned inequalities. So I think the test will just go up to inequalities. Graphs won't be there. There's no time for the graphs. So you guys study over the weekend. We end here. Inequalities, you know how to solve. Quadratic equations, you know how to solve. And therefore, all the best as you sit for your CAT on Tuesday. Let's meet in the test. Unless there is a question. So you are free to mute and ask a question if you have a question. Okay, so you can unmute and ask a question.
Yes, sir. I have a question on the table, sir.
Yes, what's the question?
I'm kind of behind on the values, how you have put them there on the table.
Which values, young